All right, we are here with Joe from Gorilla Joe Printing. So give our listeners and viewers sort of like a little history on where you guys came from and how the company was put together.
I started the company 12 years ago to fulfill a need, which was basically printing my own band merch. And I started off with a really small little kit in my basement. It was flooded all the time, riddled with spiders and kind of gross. But we didn't want to pay for somebody to print our merch, so we got all the stuff, and I'd have some friends help me out on the weekends. So then I started printing, and other people started asking me, hey, can you print our stuff too? And basically it was like punk bands and hardcore bands, and I was like, I don't know what it's going to look like, but yeah, I mean, I'll give it a try. So I'd work my full-time job on the weekdays, and then on the weekends, I'd basically print band merch. And that kind of sustained me for a couple months, and then I kind of was like, you know what, I'm just going to quit my job and just kind of do this full time. And it was super scary, but it worked out. And since then, the growth has been pretty organic, just constantly plowing it back into the business, equipment, so fast forward to now, we have 4 automatic presses, 17,000 square foot facility, about 21 people, 22 including myself. And we're talking about a second shift after we start getting the spring push. So it's grown, like I said, sustainably, but it's grown a lot since, for 12 years.
So your full-time gig, was it in the creative space? What would you do before? What kind of stuff?
I worked at I don't want to say the name because they're still around.
All right.
And
Type of work.
And we print for them actually, but I was a warehouse manager for inventory for a company that built remote controls for underground mining equipment, and it was such a boring job. I mean, I was just counting parts all day, building these kits for the techs to build like these remote controls. I had a little bit of knowledge because I'd built guitar pedals a long time ago, so with the PCB boards, or PCB, whatever they're called, soldering like tiny little capacitors and everything. I was so bored with my position, I started learning how to do that stuff. I didn't get any more money, but they let me build some wiring harnesses and all this other stuff because I knew how to do it, and that didn't really require much of a degree or anything. But that's basically what I did in a nutshell, and it just kind of launchpad some of our. I got to use their internet. I got to use their copy machines for price lists and brochures, and that's kind of how I DIY'd my company from the beginning.
All right, so in the original iteration, your laboratory with the spiders and whatnot, basic equipment, like how?
Oh, it was, super basic. It was a bolt-down tabletop press. It could do 4 colors, but you couldn't do more than 2 because the registration was terrible. And I had a little heat gun, and the first piece of equipment that I bought with money that I started printing with was a flash. So like a flash is like a square heating element that goes over the pallet where the shirt's at with wet ink, and it dries it so you can do the next layer. But I actually built a way to cure the shirts while I was printing with that. And then, very basic setup, very archaic. The quality for one color wasn't too bad, but if you went into 2-3 colors, it took forever. Yeah, and the quality wasn't that great.
And you have an artist finesse, I'm assuming. You came from art?
Yeah.
Creative side?
Yeah, I did. I had some versions of Photoshop early on, the iterations back in the day, like during high school. And the band I was in then, which wasn't the band I actually started printing to make the merch for, I would make a lot of like band shirt designs and everything for us. We would go on tour and, we'd make some pretty cool stuff. And it was just basically just me as a young kid, like just sitting in my underwear, playing around with Photoshop, like real late at night and everything. So it's self-taught.
All right, so where are you headed now? Are you going to keep growing the business up, or what's your plans going forward?
I never want to stay stagnant. I don't plan on adding on more square footage or really any more equipment. I don't really. If we grow, we're going to grow vertically, possibly with a second shift, with the machinery that we have. But even that, though, would require more middle management, more of my time. It's almost kind of like being a landlord. Like, you don't want to get that call at 3 o'clock in the morning, something's broken, and you got to go fix a furnace or something like that. So
Because that would be you.
Yeah, me or my production manager, Nate. We want to attract the right clients that coincide and we can work parallel with and seamlessly, because not every order is a good order. I'll be honest, sometimes when it takes 30 or 40 emails just to get somebody to commit to an order, that's maybe 25 pieces. It's kind of like, well, I feel like the orders that only took one email, and maybe it's a purchase order saying, hey, the garments are arriving next week. I need them by the 15th or something like that. That's the kind of stuff that we tend to go after rather than a lot of the hand holding and everything. So I guess what's in the future is growth, but good growth, growing with what we have and trying to attract more of the right kind of clients for our wheelhouse.
Okay. All right. Let's do our little walkthrough. We're going to give us a little tour of your facility.
All right. So, yeah, this is customer service entrance. Showroom floor. I mean, we just have some samples in there and all that fun stuff. This is mainly for people to pick up their orders and chat about a potential order. All the art throughout this whole place was pretty much done by a good buddy of ours, Dave, who tattoos at a local tattoo shop. This is shipping and receiving.
Yeah, you weren't kidding. This is a big place.
Yeah.
Lots of square footage.
Yeah.
And did you go right from garage setup to big building, or were there some other places?
Garage setup to a very small shop in West Middlesex, PA, then a medium-sized shop in Brookfield, and then I bought the building I have now, actually answering a Craigslist ad to buy a delivery van. So I jokingly with the guy was like, you selling the building too? And he said, yeah. That was Trucker, our art guy.
Okay.
He's doing some color seps right now. Those channels that he's messing with are different colors on the actual shirt. That looks like the arm and everything with that beast on that shirt. And then that gets sent out to the screen room to be imaged on screens.
This episode was brought to you by Youngstown Computer, the Valley's technology company. We appreciate the loyalty you all have shown to us over the years, and it's our promise to serve all of the technology needs of the Valley. Call 330-259-7278. We have both home and business services available, everything from repair, installations, and new equipment. You can improve your Wi-Fi and have your technology serve you better. Call 330-259-7278, or you can schedule your appointment right now on youngstowncomputer.com and look for the red Book Now button.
So this is our screen tech Winfield. He's preparing the machine to print that black on the screen, and then like I kind of mentioned, each color is a screen. So if it's a 9-color job, 9 screens we set up.
And this actually creates the screen for each color?
It does. So there's still another step we have to do, but with this machine, it eliminates us having to print basically a transparency that would actually be physically taped and measured onto the screen. So this takes out a step, and it eliminates a lot of waste, which I wish we had some footage of the way we used to do it. So this speeds up the process a whole bunch. But when this is still done being imaged, we still have to hit it with light, and then everywhere that the black is doesn't let light penetrate through, and then it gets washed away, and then that leaves you your stencil, essentially where the ink will come through the screen,
So, well, the old one would be you would have a transparency, and then you'd have to have the light where it exposes it to the light. Right?
Yeah, which we still have.
Okay.
But somebody would have to literally be positioning the transparency with a T-square. See, that's the light box that we use. So he's going to put that under there. My dog was visiting that day. We had contractors at our house, and she's not very good with people.
Okay. Every workplace needs a mascot.
Yeah. Well, I used to have a golden retriever that was with us all the time, but he hasn't been there in a while. But yeah, so he'll hit that for different meshes, for different length of time. I think that was probably a 160 screen, which means 160 dots per square inch or holes. So he probably did that for 18 seconds. And then, those amber flaps keep the natural light out of that room because it has to be light sensitive.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then he'll just do a pre-soak, which we've realized that pre-soaking it like that in the water actually saves us a lot of water rather than pressure washing it and then letting it soak. We basically just have a tub of water that just, So then he'll start spraying away where the image will be when we print it. And so everything black washes away, and then that emulsion starts to solidify or liquefy in the water and just kind of
just the parts that were behind the black ink.
Yep, exactly.
It stays something
Yep.
that can
and
be
then
removed.
the light hardens everything else because that pink stuff is light sensitive.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why it's got to be with those safe lights and the yellow and everything. And all that little info up there, those are called registration marks. Basically, it'll tell the printer what color goes on there, what the sequence is. So if it says underbase 1 of 8, underbase is usually your first layer of white where the colors sit on top. Or if it says 3 of 8 and it's yellow 109, the 109 is a Pantone color. So basically, it's just like we have a library of inks and they go in there, and usually they're pre-staged already though. But if they had to go pick up an ink, it's just numerical order. They'd go to 109 yellow, and they'd know to load that in the screen and which order to put it in.
And I noticed those little crosshairs. I'm assuming that's to line up the different.
Exactly. Yep. Then we just tape the screen up to make sure that no ink comes through those sides and everything. I'm constantly trying to eliminate waste in our shop, and I think what we might end up doing is going to bigger screens so that we don't have to use tape. Because for one, it costs money, but for two, it's waste. And he's bringing those screens to the presses, but normally we have everything kind of carded and inks ready to go for the day so that the printers don't have to guess or ask where the stuff's at.
The library of those screens have to be immense in that place. Like, you probably have a ton.
It's a ton, but we as soon as the job's done, we reclaim them. So reclaim means they go in the back and get washed out and get ready for reuse. We don't really save many screens because it's so quick with our machinery that we use to just make new ones that, scooping the ink out, cleaning it out, and then re-registering it kind of takes more time than it actually just to make another screen. We have digital proofs so that all the printers know what it's supposed to look like. This has really saved our butts a lot of times because, it just seems like we're printing shirts, but there's a lot that could go wrong. Missing a letter or something spelled wrong. And when someone submits artwork to us, we will try to catch anything that could be wrong. But if they created it and they, sign off on it and approve it, if we print it, it's kind of out of our hands, but we sure as heck don't want that conversation where someone emails us and says, you should have caught this spelling error or, whatever. And it's like,
And is that the dryer right there?
Yeah.
That's saying that?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Gotcha. This episode was brought to you by Youngstown Computer, the Valley's technology company. We appreciate the loyalty you all have shown to us over the years, and it's our promise to serve all of the technology needs of the Valley. Call 330-259-7278. We have both home and business services available, everything from repair, installations, and new equipment. You can improve your Wi-Fi and have your technology serve you better. Call 330-259-7278, or you can schedule your appointment right now on youngstowncomputer.com and look for the red Book Now button. Now, is your business primarily local, or do you have national, or a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. We do a lot of local stuff, a lot of restaurants in the area, a lot of bars in the area, a lot of bands. But this particular tour that we're printing for, the band's from England, and then the other band's from California, and we're shipping everything to the rehearsal space before they both go on tour in California.
Holy crap. How many colors is that?
It's 16.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. we bought that from a company that we print for. They're a screen printing company in Cleveland. They just basically send us all of their overflow stuff that their capacity maybe can't handle. Even though, I mean, they're a big shop. Just when they get to their capacity, they don't want to say no to the job, so they contract them out to people like us because we're so close. And, you know, we got a good deal on that machine and everything because they wanted us to be able to match whatever they can do. I mean, that machine by itself, probably brand new, would be $295,000. We got it.
Wow.
It's an older machine. I mean, it was 2010, I think, or something like that. But it still runs great.
And all that automatic stuff, I mean, it can line those things up perfectly.
They're still humanistic. We still have to, you know, troubleshoot a little bit. You know, we'll put it in there. This basically just takes the printing off of your hands and elbows, basically. Like, you know, machines don't get tired. So, like, you know, we do anywhere from 300 to 600 shirts an hour, depending on if it's a sleeve print or, you know, whatever.
There still has to be a physical person that makes everything's lined up and whatever,
absolutely.
And then it just rolls the ink out.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And then there's like these fine little knobs. It's called micro registration. So if something is out of registration, they could basically just go in there and just kind of move it until it's right. But we have 3 people per pod. I call them pods, but 3 people per press, per dryer. And then we have, you know, like shipping and receiving. We have art department. We have the girls up front. That order entry, customer service type stuff. And then we have the screen guys and everything. And then I have a production manager who really alleviated a lot of stuff for me to do during the day because sometimes you're putting out fires and not really, it's almost like you're building the plane and you're flying it as you're doing it. Mm-hmm. And that's not really productive, to be honest with you. For like Mr. Walmart's not, you know, in Walmart, you know, dusting the shelves and everything.
Right.
Not comparing us to Walmart, but this is all merch for Youngstown Clothing Company. We print out everything that they have, and we store all of their stuff. So this is all their fleece, all their T-shirts, everything. And we've been doing this since we started with them. Basically, like, they place an order on Sunday night, and it's on press Monday morning because we have all the blanks. We don't have to wait for UPS to bring them. So they kind of have, you know, white glove service as far as turnaround times because we have other garments in stock. And at Christmas time, they sell a ton of stuff.
Yeah, and what I like most about what they pick out is their clothing is very soft.
Yeah.
They don't skimp on
No.
the material.
It's top of the line stuff. It's all tri-blend stuff. Even their hoodies and everything. Yeah, so like if we, I mean, misprints happen, you know. It's just, the world is an imperfect place. You know, they never gets upset with us because we have a threshold of spoilage. You know, we usually tell people like 3%. So every 100 shirts, count on maybe 3 being ruined. It's sometimes more, sometimes less, but it all kind of evens out. And with their stuff, it's not cheap to replace. That's Nate, our production manager.
Now, is there a backstory on the gorilla or?
Yeah, actually, I was printing in my basement. This was the second basement location. This is when I bought a house and I lived by myself, not with roommates. And I was actually sitting just like this and tapping my foot. I was on the phone with Penn State University, downtown Sharon. And they said, so what's your company called? And I didn't have a company name. I just was like printing for bands. So I hung up the phone, pretended I lost reception. And I have a tattoo on my calf of a gorilla because my friends used to call me the Silverback Gorilla. And I called him back, and I was just like, it's Gorilla Joe Printing Company. And I was just like, I'll just make a letterhead. I just want the job, you know, like, so that's what it's called. And, like, I was just like, I guess it's going to stick. So that's.
Are you glad you picked that at least?
Yeah, because it would have been something stupid like I don't know, like.
Yeah, like glue stick printing.
Yeah, right.
Whatever's on the desk.
Yeah. Like, it could be worse, I guess. But people like it, and I don't know. When I go to trade shows and stuff like that, it's kind of become like a thing that when we meet people and hang out with people, like it's almost kind of like we're a band or something like that. I don't know. I didn't try to do it, but it worked out.
So how many of those printers do you have in?
We have 4. We have 4, and then the one in the very back is a manual. Actually, right before I got here today, I was printing nylon jackets because nylon jackets are super finicky in a dryer. Our dryers are both about 30 feet long, so it's about 18 to 20 feet of heat, and the jackets could melt under that heat. So I just did them on the manual with a smaller dryer, kind of give a little bit more control and not worry about ruining the jackets.
Do you get an advantage when you're doing manual, even though it's harder work? Is there any better quality or
No
different quality?
No, it's all good. I think if anything, for consistent purposes, like for a really long run, automatics are the best. Thing with automatics, though, I mean, there's definitely a learning curve because, like, if you're doing a long run and you don't have a floater to go around the press and make sure all your inks are intact, you could get to a shirt and see that you ran out of yellow ink, and let's say it was part of like some kind of flame-looking design or whatever. You really can't save the shirts to even just go back and print it over because the way it's kind of set up is like it might be third in the progression of how many screens you have, but if you try to re-hit it, well, it's going to sit on top of other colors and it's going to look bad. So
some of those colors actually depend on the layer above or below them in order to take shape. Okay.
Yeah, and that's a printing process we do a lot of. It's called a simulated process. So it's a bunch of colors that actually kind of build the design to make it look like a lot more colors even.
So when you have a shirt that has 16 colors, I mean, is it thick? Like, can you feel it?
No, I mean, because it's usually if you're doing something that's like 16 colors or which with that press, we have max 16, but we have 3 flashes, and the flashes are like these, they sit over the pallet. It's basically a heating element that dries the layers of ink so you can go to the next one, because sometimes you don't want to do just straight up just wet on wet printing. And you always have to flash after the underbase because the underbase has to be dry for all the colors to sit on top of it. So that press can do 13 colors because we have 3 flashes. But even that, you still want a cool station after a flash, because once it's under that extreme heat for even a couple seconds, that residual heat, when it spins to the next one, could actually start to cure the ink in that screen. So you want to leave a cool station, kind of by itself, and then go to the next color. But no, it's when you're doing that many colors, chances are it's going to be like kind of like a picturesque type design where it's thinned out ink and usually what's called halftones, so tiny little dots, and the ink deposit's not very thick.
Clean up. I bet you that's the funnest part of this deal.
Yeah. So what he's doing is, that's Tyler. He's our social media guy. He does all of our videos, but he helps out with production too. Chances are there's probably some kind of ink spot on that shirt, and that little gun that he was filling up shoots dry cleaning fluid in there and gets the ink out.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. This is a auto reclaim unit. So basically that first chamber gets rid of all the ink. Second chamber gets rid of all the emulsion, which is that pink stuff. And the third chamber is just a straight up pressure washer. And they come out mostly clean. He sometimes has to touch it up a little bit, but depending on, because red inks stain the mesh a lot because of the pigment. So he'll have to maybe do one little extra step. But
how many times can you reuse that screen?
Well, our threshold for getting it remeshed is 17 newtons. So we measure the tightness of the screen, and if it's under 17 newtons, we basically just cut it out and send it off to be remeshed. And we usually, send about 200 screens at a time to be remeshed. But that's when we decided to do it, because that's when you start having problems with designs looking kind of bad.
Yeah, when it starts getting wavy or not holding its...
Yeah. And 17 newtons, I mean, some people will say 14 newtons, but for us, 17 is what works for the type of work that we do. Like I said, we do a lot of high detail, high color stuff. And if you're trying to print with a trampoline, it's not going to work.
Right.
This is like our ink wall and everything. Big room where we store our inks and
Dang.
mix everything. Like going back to the whole, not wanting to waste stuff. Most of those buckets come from my wife's salon, because she's a Paul Mitchell focused salon, and all of her lightener comes in these plastic buckets that like basically people just throw away. And I mean, for one, now we don't have to buy buckets, and for two, it reuses plastic before it gets thrown away at the the last stage. So we do a lot of salons, and I've actually reached out to salons we don't print for, basically saying, hey, if you have ink buckets or if you have lightener buckets, yeah, we'll come and take them. And like, we always pull the card where it's like, this is great for our environment, to basically, make it sacrilegious if they throw them away.
That's right.
Got
to get some guilt in there.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that thing with the buttons right there, that's a flash. So like after, before it, all those colors are wet, and as it goes under there, it dries it.
And is it used like radiant heat, infrared heat?
Infrared.
Infrared?
Yeah. Like they're like glowing tubes. One time they were printing something where they had to move a flash on one of the red presses, and they didn't grab it, and it just fell on the pallet.
Ouch.
Each one of those bulbs is $100. So there was 12 of them that just shattered.
Look at that resolution. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Love it. So you when you have something on the back, you just run that same shirt flipped over a second time through the press.
Yep. So we'll print all the fronts first or all the backs first, kind of depending, We tend, so if there's a high color front and maybe a low color back, we'll do the hardest thing last, because that's generally what's going to get screwed up. So if we have to replace anything, we can basically leave it on press, or we'll have extra shirts. Let's say we screwed up 11 larges, we'll throw in 11 larges, print the back or the fronts, and then on a smaller press or the manual for a 2-color back, we'll set up the back and just print those 11 shirts,
So if you compare like the garage days to now, you probably up the quality.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, if someone wants to support you guys and bring any work your way, tell people how to get a hold of you.
You can go to our website, GorillaJoePrinting.com. Instagram, Facebook, at Gorilla Joe Printing. Our phone number is 234-719-1861, and our emails orders@GorillaJoePrinting.com. Basically, you can go on the website. You can fill out a quote form, see what we're about on Instagram and everything. We post videos daily. So if you are looking for a profession in a print shop, or you want to order shirts, that's probably the best way to do. That's the best way to go.
Beautiful. Thanks, Joe, for coming in.
Thank you very much for having us.